The year, 1994, and a cartoon about a plucky little lion cub showed the world that Disney had its groove back. 25 years later, The Lion King is roaring back, but with a new look. Eli's here with his review of the movie, and we've heard a lot about this leading up to the remake. Tell me a little bit about it.
It's a strange beast. I mean, as you said, and as we saw there, I mean, remarkable how close those two images are. The photorealistic version of the remake, this parade of celebrity voices, except for one very familiar voice, Mufasa, Lord Vader himself, the voice, James Earl Jones, coming back to retain his throne. Let's take a listen to a little bit of the dad and his cub.
Everything you see exists together in a delicate balance.
So there you go, but a little more nostalgia. We have to, a little more. You know you want to hear the song, let's play it. All right, so we are in the kingdom of deja vu. This is an incredibly reverential remake. As far as the plot goes, very similar to the original. As you saw, as you can see, Simba's being prepped to step into his father's role. Scar is scheming. Eventually, young Simba, driven out, and has to find the courage to return to his father's kingdom. Now, the director responsible for all of this, one of Disney's favorite sons, Jon Favreau. This is the guy who directed Iron Man, working on a little series about Star Wars right now. There he is, and he refined this technique when he remade another cartoon, The Jungle Book. So that was another photorealistic movie, looked like live action, but really what Lion King and Jungle Book are basically some of the most ambitious computer animated movies ever made. So everything, this arc of animals, they're all bits and bytes, they're all created by computer animators. And even the cinematographers, listening to an interview, he basically would put on 3D glasses and go into the virtual world of the Lion King and say, okay, we're going to put the camera here, and then we're going to crane over there, and I want to see a silhouette of the giraffes here. And so that's how they create these amazing images.
That's pretty neat. But, okay, we have to ask, how does the new Lion King compare to the original?
So, visually speaking, in terms of what Favreau's trying to capture, I mean, I think it's stupendous. I mean, the film opens with, as you can see, I mean, pictures of the landscape teeming with life, the zebras, the elephant. I mean, this is like one of those nature series like Planet Earth, and then you see the animals start moving in pairs, celebrating the arrival of the new cub, and the realism that Favreau is reaching for starts to stretch, and then they talk. Now, if it was just a radio play with this new cast of voices, it would be fun. And I'll give you a taste. Let's take a listen to one of the characters. This is a scene with Scar, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, and so he's laying a trap for Simba, wants to get Simba out of the way, brings Simba to this gorge, says, you need to work on your roar, and well, let's take a look.
With a little practice, you'll never be called a cub again.
Watch this.
You'll get it, Simba. Just takes time. I'll check on you later.
Dad will be so proud, won't he?
It's a gift he'll never forget.
Now, I think we can agree that Chiwetel Ejiofor, his voice has that sinister quality. It's a gift you'll never forget. But here's what we're missing. I mean, if you look at the original cartoon for Scar, you had the inky black mane, you had the yellow, greenish, sinister eyes, the sneering head and body. I mean, the cartoonist doing everything to give us this personification of arrogance. But through the prism of realism, Lion King looks like Planet Earth. It looks like Blue Planet, but in Blue Planet, the animals never sang, they never schemed. And so at 1 minute, you're looking at something that looks like it was ripped out of National Geographic, but then they start to speak and it looks like Hammy Hamster. Because they're restrained by realism, all they can do is move the characters' mouths, show a little hint of emotion in their eyes, and so there's a disconnect there. The two elements, the realistic approach and the cartoonish performances, are fighting each other.
That's really interesting. So It's an impressive cast, though. Did anybody rise above those limitations?
Yeah, I mean, I think as much as I enjoyed it in spite of the effects, not because of it. And there's a lot of great voices. I mean, John Oliver, very spirited as Zazu, kind of the winged assistant to Mufasa. As the grown-up Nala, Beyonce is in this. I figured, you know, for Beyonce, we'd get a little more of Nala. She doesn't have a big role here, but it's Beyonce, so it's a little extra, but it works just like her new song, Spirit. Donald Glover as Simba is great. He, as the teen Simba, I mean, he captures this feeling of a lion who was lost, as a lion who is afraid to live up to his potential. But the best of the bunch, and I'll show you them in a moment, the farting warthog and his buddy the meerkat. You know who they are, Pumbaa and Timon. Let me play you a scene where they actually find young Simba for the first time. He's been driven out by Scar. They find this little cub in the desert, and, well, let's take a look.
It's a little lion!
It gets bigger.
Can we keep him? Can we please keep him? Oh, okay. I promise. I'll walk him every day. If he makes a little mess, I'll clean it up.
You'll be his little mess. He's gonna eat you and then use my body as a toothpick.
But one day, when he's big and strong, he'll be on our side.
I've got it. What if he's on our side? Hear me out! Having a ferocious lion around might not be such a bad idea.
Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner, and that works in spite of the animation because their performances are so good there, and I think they're so in tune with each other. There's improv, they're riffing. Even when they sing the classic song Hakuna Matata, they reference the original, like they're almost winking at us, saying, we know what's happening here. We know that, never mind the circle of life, this is the circle of recycling, but, you know, they kind of, they look at us and they kind of play with it and then they move on. So you're not just watching a rerun anymore, you're watching something that's a little more fresh, and that's why that part is a success.
How did you rate it? Uh-oh,
I know most of you are going. I know, and I know you're like frustrated and annoyed, and I'm annoyed. Because when I think of Disney 25 years ago, I mean, they had this decade where they did Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Nightmare Before Christmas, Aladdin, and Lion King, and then Mulan. 20 years from now, what do we have to look forward to? Remakes of the remakes of the remakes? I'm rating this 2.5 out of 5.
Whoa.
Because I want new. I want Disney to tell me something original. I don't want the best thing I can hope for when I go into the theater is a version of something I have already seen. I want true surprise and wonder and cheer and sadness, and this is all, you know, an echo of that in a format that doesn't work that well.
This is a frustrated Eli.
It is.
2.5 stars. Okay, we'll see what we hear from people on that one. Before I let you go, though, because we're talking about familiar felines. Oh my gosh, and another sigh.
Yeah, well,
okay,
or a shudder.
I'm gonna ask you anyway. What do you think of the Cats trailer?
Have you seen it?
I did.
It's, I mean, like, I've been complaining about photorealism. This is a little too far in the other direction. It's like, what? No, just no. It's such a strange technique. It is unsettling, and I am very worried. You know, Memories was a lovely song, but yeah, it's Judi Dench. I mean, but still, someone should have intervened. Someone at some point just said, no, this is unsettling and eerie. This is like we're trapped in the uncanny valley, and it should just be put down.